Are you tired of having somebody help you guide your winch rope in on your machine? Well, look no farther. SuperATV has an auto stop Fairlead kit, and today we're going to be showing you how to install it on this Polaris RZR. What's up everybody, I'm Braden, welcome to my garage, and today we're going to be showing you how to install SuperATV's Auto Stop Fairlead kit on this Polaris RZR. Here's the tools, let's get right to it. So with the Auto Stop Fairlead kit, it is a universal fit, which means for every machine that you install this kit on, it's gonna be a little bit different on what components you're gonna have to remove from the machine. How I recommend you start this off is to go ahead and have your winch installed on your machine. As we do, we've went ahead and removed the old solenoid and the old wiring. At this point, you'll wanna do that as well. So we're gonna go ahead and get this machine in the air. I'm gonna disconnect the shock, remove the wheels and tires just to make it a little easier to run wires into the cab. So once you've taken off all the necessary components, we're gonna need to move on to removing the template out of the last page on the instructions. You're gonna wanna take that template and lay it wherever the Fairlead was installed previously. And we're gonna have to make a notch in this bumper where the Fairlead installs in order to get our wiring to run through. I'm just gonna take a paint marker, mark it. Anytime you're cutting or using any tools, make sure that you use the proper safety equipment. Make sure you have safety glasses on, gloves, and be careful. If this is something you're not comfortable with, take it to a dealer, take it to a shop, somebody that can do this for you. No matter if you're cutting a plate, a bumper, whatever it may be, it doesn't matter. The Fairlead mount needs to look like this. Obviously, you're gonna wanna test fit your Fairlead to ensure that your wire is gonna go through there, but this is just an example of what it needs to look like. Now go ahead and pull your rope back through, grab the Fairlead, rope through the Fairlead, grab your wires, and start feeding them. Obviously, the routing on every winch kit's gonna be just a little bit different. So we're gonna go ahead and install our hardware for our Fairlead. This is the same hardware that you previously used for your Fairlead. So then we can go ahead and grab our winch rope and we're gonna pull this metal insert out, just like so. And now that we've pulled the insert out, I've grabbed a piece of wire, mechanics wire, looped it through the center of the rope. Now we're gonna grab our stopper. You wanna make sure that this portion of the stopper, the rounded edge is facing out. The flat side is gonna be facing in towards the Fairlead. We're just gonna feed our wire through the center of the stopper here, and then just pull our rope through. This is tight. Once you've got the stopper on, you're gonna go ahead and take the metal ring, go ahead and reinstall it. All right, so listen closely, this is very important. Before you move on to mounting your new solenoid to your machine, you need to verify the distance away from the Fairlead that you have on your wiring harness here. You need to find out where you're gonna route your wiring and where you're going to mount the solenoid. Do not go mount the solenoid and then try to plug it in. You need to route the wiring first. I'll say it again, route the wiring first. If you are working on a Turbo S, I advise you to kind of install the solenoid and do everything just as we have done it. So we're gonna go ahead, start routing this wire up through the machine, getting it kind of laid up where we want it to attach it to our solenoid. We're gonna install the solenoid, and then we're gonna start routing our wires from our winch to our solenoid. This is where we have the solenoid mounted. We have all 4 of our connections. Now we're gonna start routing our wires to make the connections. All right, so at this point you should have your solenoid mounted. You should have confirmed that the wiring harness coming off the Fairlead plugs in. It's the correct length. We've already done that. So now you're gonna be running your winch wires from the winch to the solenoid. So this may be a little bit different if you already had a winch installed and you're trying to upgrade to the auto stop and the wire's too short. You can give us a call, and we sell winch wiring on the website. They're long enough for you, and all you would need to do is route them up to the solenoid. So that's what we're gonna do now. So now we have our wires routed the way that we wanna route them. We have them nice and cleanly ran. They're attached to the solenoid. So this is how much excess wire we have at this point. I'm gonna go ahead and cut these down. I'm just gonna leave a little bit of slack, but enough to where I'm not gonna have a bunch of wire coiled up in the machine. So now what I'm gonna do, crimp connectors onto them and then make the final connection on the winch and tighten down the connections on the solenoid. So now we're gonna make a connection from our Fairlead to our solenoid, now that we have our wires ran from the winch to the solenoid. Now we're gonna be going back up top, removing the dash and running our rocker switch to the dash and sending our ground and power cables down to our winch solenoid. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and remove the hood. Then we're gonna go ahead and remove the dash on this machine. And remember, this is gonna be different for every machine. You may not have to remove the hood on your machine. You may have to remove only the dash. So now we're just gonna take our power wire. We're gonna go from our bus bar. The far right post will be hot on a razor. If you're not working on a razor, you just need to find an all-time hot. And we're gonna run it straight down to the solenoid. So now that we have our hot and ground connected to our solenoid, we're gonna grab our rocker switch. We're gonna make the connection to the solenoid with this connector here. And then this is gonna be our keyed on source. So we're just gonna route this through the dash, through the firewall, make the connections. Easy, all right, go ahead. Keep pulling it. All right, so now we're just going to take our keyed on source wire. I'm just gonna leave the connector on there just for installation's sake to show you all that it will work just fine doing it this way. Definitely try to use a heat shrink style connector. It's definitely the best option. All right, so now what we're gonna do is grab the rocker switch harness connection and plug into the connection on the solenoid. It's the last connection left. You've definitely seen it by now. You've definitely moved it around a handful of times as you're making connections. So just gonna plug that right in, make sure it clicks. All right, we're gonna snug all our connections up real quick. I'm not gonna tie any of the wires up out of the way quite yet. Right now, we're at a point to where we can do a quick demonstration, just make sure everything's functioning properly, and then we can come back through and tidy all the wiring up and reinstall any components that we've removed. All right, so now we're gonna check to make sure everything's functioning as it should. We have the wireless remote here. I'm gonna run it in, and you're gonna see I'm gonna hold the switch down, and it's gonna stop. So as soon as that stopper makes contact on the Fairlead, it stops it. So show you again. Shuts it off. All right, so now that you've got your auto stop kit installed, make sure that all your connections are tight. Make sure you reinstall any previously removed components, and that's all there is to it to install SuperATV's auto stop winch kit. Be sure to check the description below to pick yours up today. And while you're there, drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.